Hi guys, we're going to be reading chapter 7 and 8 of Where the Mountain Meets the Moon. The sun had set and the moon was just beginning to rise in the sky when Ma and Ba returned home from the fields. Even though they could smell the steam from the rice cooking, they noticed the house was strangely dark and quiet. Why is Ming Li sitting in the darkness? Ma wondered as they approached the house. Perhaps she is sad about giving up her goldfish, Ba said as he shook his head. Can our fortune be any poorer? Ma sighed. We cannot even feed a goldfish for our daughter. But as Ming Li's parents entered the house and read her note, Ma made a noise like a shrieking cat. I spoke too soon, Ma cried. Our fortune is now the worst, for our only daughter is gone. Quiet, quiet, wife, Ba hushed her. If we move quickly, we can find her and bring her back home. Ba hurried, Ba hurriedly took out his cloth sack and gathered blankets and filled an empty bottle with water. She has had almost half a day to travel ahead, he said. It might take us some time to find her. Ma watched him and then began to pack the cooked rice into a traveling box. She continued to weep. It is all the stories you told her, Ma sobbed. She believed them and now is looking for fairy tales. Her words cut into Ba like slices of a knife, but even though his face was pained, he said nothing and continued to pack. His hands trembled as he tied the bag closed, but they were gentle when he put them on Ma's shoulder. Let us go, he said. As they left the house, many of their neighbors poked their heads out of their doors. They had heard Ma's screams through the thin walls of their closely spaced houses and wanted to know what had happened. When Ma and Ba told them, it seemed as if the whole village poured out from their homes. Never-ending mountain, the old man of the moon, changing your fortune, the neighbor said. You better go find her or else she will never return. Foolish Ming Li, she is trying to do the impossible. Each villager pointed and nodded toward the direction they had seen Ming Li last. Some had seen her heading home, others towards the rice field, but finally a small boy was heard. Ming Li left toward Fruitless Mountain, he said. I saw her with her pack. She went that way. So with the villagers waving them goodbye, Ma and Ba walked toward Fruitless Mountains, their dark shadows trailing behind them in the moonlight. But when they reached the mountain, they looked at each other uncertainly. Where did she go from here? Ba wondered, and he lit the lantern in his hand. The soft light seemed to warm the air and soften the growing darkness. Here, Ma cried out, pointing to the ground. There are footprints going toward the woods. Maybe they're Ming Li's. Ba looked at the footprints. There was another mark accompanying them, a long pulling line. Ba pointed at them. But what is that? He wondered. Maybe Ming Li was dragging a walking stick, Ma said. The footprints could be hers. Ba looked again at the footprints. They seemed small and nimble. Perhaps they are, Ba said. Let's follow them. And so they did. Chapter 8. Ming Li woke up when the sun was high in the sky and burning with light. Even in Even in the shade of the forest, Ming Li's black head burned hot. As she woke up, she looked at her jug of water. Since she had used some of it for her compass and had drunk some during her night walk, it was only half full. She sipped it and tried not to think about Ma and Ba finding her note. I hope they understand, Ming Li said to herself, shifting the weight of the water jug on her shoulders uncomfortably. Ming Li walked west again. A couple moments later, she sipped her jug again. She tried to drink sparingly, but even through the leaves of the trees, the yellow sun glared down at her, Soon her empty jug was bouncing against her arm when she heard a faint noise running through the trees. There's water trickling, she said to herself as she turned toward the sound. There's water here somewhere. Soon she noticed a small stream running with clear, sparkling water. She eagerly bent down to drink and fill her jug, but as soon as Ming Li tasted the water, she spit it out. Salt water, Ming Li exclaimed. This water is salty. As she sat back, Ming Li began to wonder, how is it this stream how is this stream salty? I am far from the ocean. This is very strange. And unable to contain her curiosity, Ming Li forgot about her thirst and began to follow it. The stream widened and deepened, becoming more of a river than a stream. Just as Ming Li began to think that she should return to her journey, she began to hear deep moans that greatly shook the earth. Who's there? Ming Li shouted. Help! A muffled voice whimpered. Can you help me? I'm coming, Ming Li called. She quickly put down her compass on the side of the water and waded in. The water was warm, like bath water, and clear as glass. Ming Li could see her feet and all the stones and leaves at the bottom of the stream. As she moved toward the voice, the water rose higher and higher to her knees and then almost to her neck. Are you still there? The voice asked plaintively. Please help me. I'm coming, Ming Li called out again. She took a deep breath and dove toward the voice. The salt water stung her eyes, so she closed them tightly until she broke through the surface. When she finally opened her eyes, Ming Li almost sank back under water with shock because there in front of her was a dragon.